Sometimes you don't even understand how an emotion can drive you to the point of taking your life. See, there was a point in time in my life where I literally took what I was feeling and loaded my clip, put it to my mouth and pulled the trigger. And the gun jammed. Straight set tripping. Frustrated. Scared. And when I heard the click, what I realized was I just tried to kill myself because I twisted my ankle. And what I thought is my life, which was football, sitting in that college dorm room, I thought my ability not to play, my ability not to give and add value to the team, and having to sit down and fall back in the frustration of that, I thought that was me becoming and being a total failure. Because at that point in time in my life, all I had was football. The only consistent thing was the only outlet of my pain, the only therapy I had was football. And I told everybody when I was younger, if it wasn't for football, I know I'd be locked up. And I don't know about you, but I know that there's things in your life that have kept you from being as crazy and as wild as you know you could be. For me, that was the game. For me, that was being part of a team, something bigger. And when I felt like that was taken away, it made me want to think about not even living. And that thought turned into me literally trying to take my own life. And I just want you all to know that you might think what you do is what's important. You might think that the things you pour yourself into is your identity. But I'm here to tell you, don't make the mistake that I made. The grave mistake of thinking that it is all about what you are able to be a part of. Because it's not. Because when you really understand your value, you start to realize that you're more than what you do. For me, my whole thing was chasing a ring, chasing a football ring, being part of a team to get a championship. We weren't talking about winning. I don't even want to be a part of it. I know that has its place. But you see, that became my only driving factor because I was robbed in high school. The last 2 minutes of our game, the last 2 minutes of our semi-final game. What I found was those last 2 minutes, being ahead 3 touchdowns, we literally lost the game because we gave up. Had a couple bad play calls. And for me, that was the first time that I've won anything in my life. That was the first time that I ever had the opportunity to be a part of something good and something that was actually pulling the best out of me. And in 2 minutes, it was stripped from my fingers. The hope of a ring. See, you might not understand this, but my uncle was the first black coach in the state of Florida. And in 1967, he won the first state championship of our high school. The year that I lost, that my team lost, was the last time that our high school would ever be on that level and on that stage for our state or in our state. And I got to be honest with you, that was the best experience of my life until that moment. And after that clock hit 0-0, I felt like everything was stripped from me. I was sick for probably about 2 weeks after that. And what I found, or what I made up in my mind, was that I will vow to get a ring, one way, shape, or form. My goal became to get a ring. The only reason why I went to play college football was not just to play college football. It was because I had a vendetta. against the failure that I have experienced, the anguish of being a failure again. So I've always been an underdog. I've always been considered someone who might not make it. And the fact that we had lost the very thing I was working for validated those thoughts and opinions. And I'm here to tell you today that if you think because you failed before, that's who you continue to be, that's who you have to be, you're lying to yourself. On my journey to college, every team I was a part of, I said, we gotta win. We gotta get better. We gotta get better because we gotta win a ring. And I found myself in and out of these different situations, trying to get there, coming up short. I went to 2 universities, kicked off with the first team because I didn't agree with the coach. Going to the second team and being kicked off the squad after a coaching change because I had inner issues that weren't being dealt with. But I tell you what, I showed up anyway. And when I showed up in a new state, in a new school, humbling myself, experiencing all these emotions, and on a winning track, what I found was that there is nowhere else for me to go. For me, somebody rolling on my ankle, nearly breaking it, and me having to sit out the rest of the season, my first year there, crushed all hopes of me working towards the one thing I dedicated my life to. And once I found out that I couldn't play, I absolutely isolated myself, like most of you all who isolate yourself when things don't go right, who isolate yourself when you might get embarrassed, who isolate yourself when things stir up old emotions and old thoughts and feelings. Yeah, I know what that's like. Almost to the point that I'd rather kill myself than deal with this present feeling of fickle failure. Yeah, I get it. What I didn't realize is I was chasing rings. I was chasing an accomplishment to validate myself. I was chasing something that was so far away from my own self-worth that I made it my life. And I'm here to tell you, your goal is not your life. Whether you attain it or not, it's not your life. And it's not the end of the world. It's just a part of the journey. And if that's resonating with you today, if you've been chasing something and it hasn't been working out, if you've been chasing something and it always seems like, I'm just not going to make it, I've been there. I understand. But you're more than that goal. It's a ring, metaphorically. And I learned a valuable lesson from my uncle, the very last college game I played in a bowl game. It was an opportunity to go to a bowl game and to have a shot at our D2 playoff situation. So we would have got a ring, conference championship, we would have won the bowl game, and it was a 3-for-1. And we would have had a shot at the playoffs, playing Albany State, Columbus, Georgia, Fountain City Classic. And guess what happened? The game boiled down to the last 2 minutes with us on the field. Flashback. Everything that I've worked for, everything that I sacrificed for. Fast forwarding from that moment, me pulling the trigger, wanting to quit because of an ankle injury. All of it came down to this moment, to the last play of the game. And we missed it. Chasing a ring. At the end of that game, for the first time in my life, I felt relief. Not because we just played a good game. Not because everything was stripped, but the fact that it was something that I actually laid my life down for and I gave it. I actually gave it my all. In practice leading up to it, in the sacrifices I made for the game, battling back from that injury, leading my team to an opportunity to play in the college and playing our D2 playoff game, which is the first time in 10 years. No, it was because I was finally free of chasing the ring. And instead, I decided to chase the crown of life. That it's the process. That when you endure the test of the trial, in the process of enduring, you build the character and capacity to overcome. And not just overcome one situation, not just overcome one thing in your life. No. To overcome the long-term endurance it takes to live fully, to love fully, to express fully, and to be all of you. See, when I made this shift from chasing rings to chasing crowns, I found freedom. Because a book that I read says, persevere your trials and tribulations, for once you have been approved by persevering, you will be granted the crown of life. And I'm here to tell you right now, whatever you might be going through, whatever you might have experienced in your past, whatever shortcomings you may have had, I'm here to tell you right now that it's time to switch from rings to the crown. And that crown doesn't come until you're all the way done. You got this. You can make it, and you're worth it. This is your boy Billy from Arise to Impact. I love you. Keep going. Keep living. Peace.